And welcome back, everyone, to the Daily 8. We are just a few days away from yet another Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest taking place over on Coney Island. It's going to be an awesome time. It's, of course, one of the premier events associated with the 4th of July year after year. And this year in particular, it's supposed to be very exciting because Joey Chestnut, the previous multi-time champion in the hot dog eating contest, is back for another year. But there are a few other important names that are going to be taking part, looking to maybe knock off Joey Chestnut for the mustard belt. Of course, we have last year's winner, Patrick Bertoletti, as well as James Webb from Australia. They both joined me earlier this week to talk about the competition, the lead up to this contest, and also their opinion on the soggy bun strategy, dipping the buns in the water. I think it's incredibly disgusting, but they seem to have learned to appreciate it at least a little bit. Again, we've spoke to both of them leading up to the contest. Here's what they had to say. Hope you enjoy. James, it's so good to have you back here inside the digital studio of ours. Really appreciate you coming back on. We haven't talked really since last year when you were down here in Grand Rapids for the Great American Blueberry Eating Contest. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But again, thank you so much for stopping by today.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course, of course. And, you're getting set, as well as a bunch of other eaters, competitive eaters, getting set for the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest happening on July 4th. Once again, always a super big event. Millions of people tune in every single year to watch it, both on TV, and then also tons of people head on out to Coney Island to actually see it in person. It's an exciting time. How excited are you to be competing once again in the contest?
Yeah, it's definitely hot dog season, and it is the best time of year for us competitive eaters. And as an Aussie, man, I'm so excited to be a part of it again.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, hot dogs are a very American dish. As an Aussie, like you just said, I mean, have you come to really grown to love hot dogs? Just being here and being part of the competition, all the fanfare.
God bless America, hey. Look, to be honest, obviously as an Aussie, hot dogs aren't really my thing, but seeing how, especially around the 4th of July and this kind of lead in, how Americans kind of embrace hot dog season and it's actually a thing, man, I just love to be a part of it. So I will learn to love hot dogs.
Absolutely. What's been the training like, though, for this? I mean, you've done it a couple of years now, put up some really impressive numbers as well, just kind of over your time doing it. But this year around, I mean, has your training changed at all? I mean, what does an average training day kind of look like for you in preparation for this contest?
Yeah, first of all, thank you. I'm trying year on year, I'm trying to improve. That's the aim of the game. And to be honest, training changes, I guess, year on year because I'm still very much learning. I'm into my, 4th season of competitive eating. So I'm always learning, always trying to be better. This year has been pretty intense training. Obviously, we've got the aspect of the capacity, the stretching your stomach, making sure your body is prepared. But I've been working a lot on my technique, trying a few different techniques this year, trying a few, I guess you could call it other people's techniques to see if it works better or worse for me. But yeah, the hot dog runs are getting good, getting faster. And you know what? I'm really excited for this 4th of July. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. We were just looking at some photos of the stage on Coney Island, obviously super Americana. I mean, you think of the 4th of July, you can't not think about the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. What is it like being on that stage, though? Because so few people get that opportunity to actually be up there in front of the crowd, putting on a show for everybody. I mean, if you could kind of summarize it as best you can, what is it like being on that stage?
Honestly, it's an honor. So as an Australian coming to my first Nathan's, 4 years ago now, I had no idea what to expect. And from the minute you land in New York City and you get to your hotel and it's the day before the contest, it's craziness, right? And I didn't really understand the significance of the 4th of July kind of weekend, the Independence weekend. And then being on that stage and you just kind of joins all the dots. Like you're on stage and there's thousands of people, there's ESPN, there's all this media and everyone's hyped and the crowd is honestly wild. Like, you Americans are crazy, man, in the coolest way possible, right? But it is honestly an honor to be a part of that event because it kind of, everyone comes together for that 10 minutes and it kind of signifies a lot more than just eating hot dogs, right? And it just, honestly, it's an honor to be a part of, especially being the only Aussie to ever be a part of it. It's the coolest feeling ever.
Right. No, and kind of going along what you said, I mean, obviously for you up on stage, those 10 minutes probably a little bit more hectic than the rest of us. But I do find it that those 10 minutes, I feel like, us as a country can really come together and support some awesome competitive eating going up on stage. I want to shift gears a little bit, though, still talking about the contest. But obviously, the big news that dropped a couple weeks ago was the fact that Joey Chestnut would be back again this time around. Obviously, when you think of the hot dog eating contest, he has the most mustard belts underneath his own belt. He's obviously a super world-renowned competitive eater. Having him back up on the stage, though, got to be pretty cool to share that with him.
And Joey's the GOAT. It's awesome. Obviously, competing with Joey, not only will the event be amplified, but everyone's performance lifts. When you're eating with Joey, it's like you gotta step up. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect to anyone else, but we all know Joey's the GOAT, and his presence just lifts everything. So it's gonna be awesome.
Right, right. And he also owns the record for most hot dogs eaten in the contest. James, kind of on that same vein, though, I mean, is there a number you're kind of after? Is it maybe a known personal best, or really just a number that maybe you've been kind of circling during training that you're like, I got to hit this. This is what I'm training for. This is the number I want to get.
Yeah, definitely. Look, so obviously the 50 Club is very prestigious. There's not many eaters that have actually eaten 50 at Coney Island. So last year I did 52, so I was very proud of that. But now I'm like, okay, I know what it takes to get to 50 plus. I want to get, high 50s. I really want to get into the 60 Club. That's just my personal goal. Whether that happens this year or not, I just want to push for at least mid to high 50s.
hmm Definitely. Well, we're going to be cheering you on with that. And James, before we let you go, I do have one last sort of question for you. I know it's kind of a controversial topic, especially regarding this hot dog eating contest. The buns and the water aspect to this. People watch it, and that's the one negative I always hear about this contest is people don't like seeing that. As far as somebody who actually has to kind of deal with eating all the hot dogs, are you a fan of that? Have you grown to maybe kind of appreciate the ability to do that more, or is it just as disgusting for you as for a lot of people watching?
Yeah, look, dunking is it is a part of competitive eating. And if you want to be competitive at the hot dog contest, you've got to dunk. There's no two ways about it. So, you know what? It's kind of like a boxing match. A boxer inevitably is going to get punched in the face, right? That's like dunking a hot dog bun in water. So we do what we got to do, and we do what we have to do for the associated glory. And you kind of just tune out for that 10 minutes and just get it done.
I love the idea of comparing eating a wet hot dog bun to getting punched in the face in a boxing match, but probably a little bit more accurate than I'm willing to go find out. James, thank you so much for stopping by today. It was great seeing you again. Good luck on the 4th.
Thanks so much. I appreciate you having me.
Of course. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today. It is an honor to get the chance to talk to you, especially just a few days away from the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest that is happening on July 4th, like it does every year. You are the reigning champion, so a lot is riding on this next competition. Very excited to see what all plays out coming up on Friday. But really, how excited are you to really just be a few days away from the competition yet again?
Well, first off, I want to thank you for having me today. Yeah, this contest is what America's all about. I won last year, the Nathan's Hot Dog event, and I would, if I didn't tell you I was a little nervous, then I'd be lying to you. I am a little anxious, nervous, excited, but feeling pretty much everything at this point.
Yeah. Right. No, I can imagine. I got to ask, though, being on stage, that's something that we've seen. Everybody who's tuned in to watch the contest or seen the highlights, they know that iconic stage up at Coney Island. What is it like actually being on that stage? I can't imagine that is going to help your nerves at all.
Well, the tricky part being on that big stage with all those people there is just to harness that energy and not to let it get away from you. So I'm going in with a game plan. I know what I'm going to do. I don't necessarily know how many hot dogs I'm going to eat, but just go in there, stay focused, and just try to relax, not panic. Sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm. And what has the training kind of been like? Because I feel like this is a different type of eating competition. You probably don't want to be practicing eating 50-something hot dogs in a given time span. But, what is that training kind of like preparing for something like this?
Yeah, you really want to practice the technique of eating the hot dogs. You want to practice eating them faster and quicker than before. I mean, I am doing a few hot dog practices a week, but besides that, this event is the Super Bowl of competitive eating. So there is a lot more preparation, mental and physical, going into this than any other event, because this is the one you gotta place very well at. So,
Mhm.
yep.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I do want to keep talking about the hot dog eating contest, but we are going to keep talking about it. But there's something I want to get to a little bit first, Patrick, because fun fact, when I first moved to, growing up in Memphis, one of the first places I ever ate at was a place called, it's been renamed, but it used to be called the Bigfoot Lodge in downtown Memphis. And they've got this crazy burger challenge. It was called the Sasquatch Burger Challenge. You were actually the first person ever to beat it back in 2007. And so I always told myself, because I always saw your photo on the Wall of Fame, it was like you, Joey Chestnut, just a very few people growing up there, and you being the first. I always told myself I'd ask you this: what was that competition or that challenge like? I mean, going into it and being the first person to finish. I mean, what was sort of your reaction after finally kind of conquering that?
Yeah, so the restaurant you're referencing, I think it's since been renamed Cookie Canuck or Cookie
Yes.
Canuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was driving down to New Orleans with a buddy, and we stopped in Memphis, and I had read about that restaurant. They had a 7.5 pound burger challenge. Nobody out of like 1,000 people had ever done it. So I knew I was going to be able to do it. I didn't know how quickly. I didn't tell the owner, who I'm since friends with, who I was. So I kind of just surprised him, and he was able to eat the whole thing in like 11 minutes or so. But it's a very delicious challenge, and that probably is one of the first big eating challenges that I ever accomplished. And that was a very long time ago, man. I'm feeling old.
Yeah, right. No, I mean, even just kind of remembering it back in my own head, I was like, gosh, that was so long ago. And, you know, thinking about just all the other times I've been out there, you know, Adam Richmond from Man vs. Food didn't even do it. So the fact that you were able to conquer it, and again, in 11 minutes, just absolutely insane. So glad we were able to talk about that, take a trip down memory lane a little bit, Patrick. But let's get back now to the Nathan's hot dog eating contest. Obviously, the big story going into this year is the fact that Joey Chestnut is returning yet again. Obviously, you two have competed against each other in the past. You were able to win last year. He didn't participate. Now he's back again. I mean, how do you kind of anticipate that playing out? Does it add a little bit of extra pressure, or maybe even a little bit of added motivation to kind of compete against arguably one of the best competitive eaters of all time?
You know, Joey coming back this year, I feel like it's just less stress for me. Everyone's really just looking at him. They're expecting him to break the record or whatever. So like I can just go in and fly under the radar. And granted, it is a little extra motivation. I still want to improve on last year, but I don't know, I like to be overlooked, and I think that's going to happen again this year. And I'm ready.
Yeah, no, going and being the underdog yet again. Patrick, you said that you don't know how many hot dogs you're probably going to eat on Friday, but is there a number that you'd like to get? Well, we talked to a few of the other competitors, and they all said that they'd love to maybe enter the 50 hot dog club, or, you know, maybe beat a personal best for them. I mean, is there a number that you're kind of going into looking at, or you're just going to let whatever happens happen?
I would like to. I mean, I'm in the 50 club now, so
Yeah.
I would like to inch closer to the 60 club. Last year I did 58, so if I can improve on that, then that would be the goal.
Mm-hmm. Right. And so, again, kind of looking back again last year, we're actually looking at a photo right now of you holding the mustard belt after your win last year. I mean, just describe the emotions you felt once everything was all said and done. You know, your stomach maybe churning a little bit from eating all that, but you've got the mustard belt in your hand. Everybody's cheering for you. I mean, what was that like?
You know, it was a very surreal experience. It was something I lied to myself and said that I always wanted, you know, to win Nathan's, or something I thought I could, which, to be honest, I never thought that was ever going to happen. So for it to come full circle, uh, that was such a great moment. All my family was there too. So yeah, it was excellent, and I still beaming about it today. So yeah, it was a great year. This has been a great year for me. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
lie.
absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. And, you know, we're glad to just be a part of it and watching you kind of just go through all of these incredible challenges and contests that you've been competing in. You own a lot of world records and a lot of just impressive times. Is there a challenge or a record or a time or really a moment in your career that is just always going to stick out to you, other than the Nathan's hot dog eating contest? Or is that maybe just the end all be all greatest thing about sort of your career so far?
That's certainly the pinnacle, but there are a few other good ones. I think there was a year I won the Wing Bowl in Philly, which was a really big event. But as far as personal records, I think my two favorite are probably the pickled jalapenos and the blueberries, which I did in Grand Rapids last year, which was 18.5 pounds in 8 minutes. I think probably my favorite one out of all of them so far, besides winning Nathan's last year.
Yeah, no, that was a lot of fun to get to see live and just seeing you put away all those blueberries. Do you? What was that like? Because I mean, that's another thing where the aftermath, I can only imagine, is probably a little bit worse than maybe filling up your stomach.
You know, I didn't really know what to expect eating the blueberries. I will say they're a lot more tart when you just eat them plain than I had expected. But I was in such great eating shape from the hot dogs that was like, it just was really fun. Normally, those eating contests can be challenging, you know, the heat, but that one just felt great the whole time, and ate really well. And I don't know if I could ever do that again. So I like that amount. So like, I'm just really happy I got that in the record books.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, Patrick, we know that you're a busy man getting set for the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest on Friday. I've got one last question for you. It's a question we've been asking a lot of people kind of going into this contest. Soggy buns, it's always talked about. People see it. People that don't really follow competitive eating think it's pretty gross. They don't understand just the necessity, I guess, behind that. Are you a fan of it? Have you kind of grown to appreciate that tactic in competitive eating, or does it still kind of gross you out as somebody who actually has to do it?
You know, sometimes it can be a little challenging when you're dunking the bun, but it comes down to straight efficiency and speed. So you're really just dunking the bun in the liquid to save a step. So there's really no way to eat 50 or 60 hot dogs without doing it. So yeah, we just do whatever it takes to win. So whether I like it or not, it doesn't matter. It just, you know, if you want to win, you got to do it that way. So.
Absolutely, at whatever cost. All right, well, Patrick, again, really appreciate the time. We're going to be rooting for you here at News 8 going in on Friday. So good luck, and we hope to see you break into that 60-plus club.
Yes, thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. All right, awesome stuff there from both James and Patrick. Really appreciate the time. Obviously looking very much forward to Friday to see who can come out on top in the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest. The contest is slated to begin sometime around 1 p.m. on Friday. And again, we will hopefully find out a winner, and maybe it'll be Patrick, maybe it'll be James. We will find out again on Friday. But again, very much looking forward to that, and can't thank them both enough for stopping by the Wood TV Plus Digital Studios earlier this week to, again, talk about it, give us a little bit of extra content, a little bit more excitement build up to the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest coming up on Friday.